When Zuck officially came out with the whole metaverse idea, you, like everybody else, discussed whether or not you would or should use it to enhance your social interactions. And when Elon came out with the whole Neuralink idea, you, like everyone else, discussed whether you would or should use Neuralink to enhance your human capabilities to keep up with your competition. But despite the massive leaps that would be required for both Zuck or Elon's products, when each of these came out with their products and their features that were promised to us, we each sat around and discussed the same thing. We discussed whether or not we would or whether we should, but what we didn't discuss is whether we could. When both Zuck and Elon introduced their new concepts of what the future would be like, they used a very particular strategy to get you to buy into the idea that these things can happen. These men, like a lot of other successful men that came before them, have mastered a very particular process that allows you to sell the only real thing you're ever gonna need to sell anybody if you want to climb the ladder of success. And that product is My name is Spencer, and I'm the 28-year-old COO of a company that did $30 million in revenue in just 30 months. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the only thing that you need to learn how to sell if you want to climb the ladder of success. Learning how to sell this allowed me to quadruple my income in just 18 months and become an executive in a company that was doing millions upon millions of sales each year. And without further ado, that product is called Futurescape Equity. Futurescape Equity is essentially selling other people on your future potential, but it's in a really strategic way and it's super easy to fuck up. But if you stick around to the end, I'm gonna break down the exact step-by-step process for you so that you can use it yourself and you don't fuck it up, because you only get one shot at using it, and if you mess it up, you're going to be in a worse spot than you started in. Okay, so Futurescape Equity, let me break that down and explain it for you. So this is all about getting someone to buy into where you're going and not necessarily where you are. Right now, you're probably starting out in business, or you really want a girlfriend. Maybe you're even in the midst of growing a business and you're just looking to get a lender to give you some cash so you can fuel what's already being built. Or maybe you're already part of a company that you love. You just want to sit at the executive table, start making some big decisions and making some serious cash. You can of course apply the Futurescape Equity concept to any one of these things I just mentioned, but let's take the last one as an example. You're sitting at the bottom in this company. You want to progress. It's getting frustrating seeing the people around you continuing to progress. You're annoyed because you're at this point where you've read hundreds of books, you've listened to countless podcasts, watched tons of YouTube videos. You're still not sitting at that executive table making the 6 figures a year that you want to be making. But why would anybody promote you? Do you even think that you're worth a promotion? Really? To be honest with you, you have 50K a year skills that solve 50K a year problems. Who cares about you? But zooming back out, here are the things that you want. You want more attractive girls to date. You want more people to buy from your company. You want to get promoted. You want a cash injection or a loan to fuel your business or startup. And you want to believe in yourself that when you actually take on big tasks, you're going to accomplish them. In other words, self-esteem. I get it. I've been in a similar position. Listen, this is how my story went. Despite where I am now, I used to be totally unsure of my direction. Honestly, the pain of uncertainty in my life made me turn to some really bad habits. I mean, for example, if you want to hear more about some of that stuff, I won't get into it now, but check out this video right here. But anyway, I always knew I wanted to get into business. I just didn't have any wins in my back pocket that gave me real confidence in pursuing it. And you guys know the feeling, like when you have no confidence in a given area, you just kind of feel like you're spinning your tires and not really making any progress. And the funny thing is, whether or not I was making progress, because my confidence was so low, I didn't even really understand if I was making any progress, because again, I was just convinced I was probably spinning my tires. I could have been 5 feet from diamonds on a given venture, but because my self-esteem was where it was, I interpreted most of what I did as a waste of time. I had started a couple businesses in the past, and I may have been 5 feet from diamonds, but my self-esteem killed those ventures, not my results, my self-esteem. Another funny thing that I've now come to realize is that both winners and losers often have the same results at the beginning when they're first starting out on a new venture. It's just that the winners have this sort of mindset that allow them to persevere, understanding that they're gonna get there eventually. They have the self-esteem and the self-confidence to understand they're on their way. So look, here's the reality. You need self-esteem, you need momentum, you need self-confidence. Because when you build a reservoir of self-esteem in a realm and then sell that potential to others, interpersonal matters, I'm talking women, promotions, salary increases, personal interactions, guys, they all become effortless. Banks give you business loans and cash injections. Girls want to date and sleep with the billionaire you already are in their minds. Bosses want to promote the incredible manager or executive that you already are in their minds. But most importantly, you begin to buy into the idea that whatever you set your mind to, you already are. And this is what creates the self-fulfilling prophecy that makes these things come true. The insane power of Futurescape Equity is that it allows you to manufacture your own momentum and create self-esteem from scratch. Now guys, I've literally been there. When you're starting out, you feel like you have zero experience selling Futurescape Equity to anyone. Well, like I said, guys, don't stress. At the end of this video, I'm gonna show you exactly the step-by-step process to sell Futurescape Equity. So just hang on a sec. I described a moment ago how I was and where I was before I learned how to sell Futurescape Equity to other people. This was before I even understood how the Futurescape Equity concept even worked. And before I get into exactly how it works, I want to describe exactly how it changed everything for me. I joined a small startup e-commerce company after I had some various levels of success dropshipping for some years. The reason I was asked to join is because I already had the reputation of being hardworking and well-researched in my social circle. The company at the time was very new, and I was brought in to overhaul the entire customer service department. Now, first off, I want to point out that this experience already exemplified people buying into my future potential, and I had zero training in what I was endeavoring to overhaul. But because I had shown the ability in my past to set goals and crush them, it was on that merit alone that I was able to join this company and be the head of a department in a growing company. Now, fast forward a little bit, and I had set several goals to the co-founders that I told them I wanted to achieve. On top of that, I would regularly make it public what I wanted to achieve within the organization in general. Little by little, I would set a goal, which in the background I had already achieved 85% of. I would crush it quickly, and I would do it to a higher standard than promised. One of the reasons I was able to do that was because I was already working on this goal in the background before I had made the promise. So under-promising and over-delivering became really easy. I was now being given larger and larger financial responsibilities in the company. This in turn let me take on bigger and bigger goals, which let me repeat the cycle. It was a win for me, it was a win for the company. Eventually, I made the case to the CEO that I wanted to take the second highest position in the company, the COO. Within about 15 days of making the pitch, I was approved for the position, and I was now set to receive all the perks that you would imagine come with a position of this stature. Salary, the authority, the benefits, everything. And in truth, when I was brought onto the company, I started with a pretty strong salary. But by mastering the Futurescape Equity process, I quadrupled that salary in about 18 months. Yeah, I mean, multiplied it by 4. And again, I want to remind you, at the time, I had zero formal training in this position either. But by selling Futurescape Equity, you get other people to buy into your future potential. Now today, I regularly continue to buy problems from the company and sell my future as a solution. Selling your future potential, structured strategically, is the best thing that you can sell to anybody, including yourself. And that is Futurescape Equity. Okay guys, I want to congratulate you on getting to the end of this video. You're clearly someone who wants to take their future success into their own hands. As I promised at the beginning of the video, I'm now going to break down the exact structure point by point of how to sell Futurescape Equity. The first point, guys, is attack in silence. What that means is I want you to begin to choose a target and work on it without telling anybody. Do not tell anyone. So for example, in my case, in our company, I saw that our customer satisfaction score was not as high as I would have wanted it to be. So my goal was to raise it by 10 percentage points. The second point is to regularly buy attainable goals or low-hanging fruit goals that you can easily accomplish. So I want you to take public ownership of these and say, hey, I'm gonna solve this. I'd like if I could go all in on this. I really wanna own this objective. That's something that you can say. For example, you could say that I wanna raise the customer satisfaction score 5% by next quarter. The third step is exceed expectations in quality, quantity, or speed. So for example, even though you said you were going to raise customer service by 5% by next quarter, raise it by 10% this quarter. And of course, this helps if you've already been working on this in the background by attacking in silence. The fourth step is to put a frame around your wins. How do you do this? You speak covertly, but often about your past successes. So for example, you could say to your boss, hey, I was just thinking back to that assignment that you let me take on last summer, and I really appreciated the opportunity. That reminds him what an amazing job you did. So going back to the customer service example, you could say, hey, I actually took the time to review how our current progress is, and we actually jumped another 3 percentage points, which is on the back of the last 10 percentage points we jumped last quarter. just saying we're super excited to see this next progress. Again, reminding him that your contribution was large and set the stage for even more contributions. And the last step is selling your Futurescape equity. The best part about this is it doesn't even need to be an explicit process. People begin to recognize this pattern you have and begin to just buy from you. But if you want to sell it yourself and explicitly and actively go and sell it, you could say something like this. Hey boss, I really appreciated that opportunity last year to solve that big issue for the company. And I'm thinking I could apply what I learned to insert the next big company issue here, and I could get great results there too. And then finally you say, and here's what I want to do about this big problem. And this repeats the process because this big problem you've already been attacking in silence. So guys, a quick recap. The process of selling Futurescape equity allows you to sell people on who you are going to be, not necessarily who you currently are. Zuck and Elon are so good at this process that you don't even question whether or not they can do something. You only ask yourself whether you should or whether you would. These guys are so good at selling Futurescape equity that they have literal investors trying to buy parts of it with financial resources before it even exists. The real power behind Futurescape equity is it allows you to borrow against your future potential, which helps you bring that guy from the future into the present. This then creates a pattern which allows you to move with more aggression and more ferocity into that desired future. Now guys, before you go quickly, there is one last thing that you should know. Futurescape equity works really quickly, and it's going to propel you through the ranks at a faster speed than you expect. But when you get there, 4 distinct stages of insecurity begin to bubble up, which can slow your progress if you don't know how to address them, trust me. And that's why in about 10 seconds, I'm gonna throw a video up on your screen that can help protect you against those 4 stages of insecurity so that your progress does not slow. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Spencer with Must Become, and I'll see you in the next video.